I have Raufeon Super Stouts. You still go by Super Stouts?
Super Stots, yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes, sir.
There we go. I love it. It just flows. Super Stouts. I love
Super
it.
Stots, yeah.
Super Stouts. Super Stouts.
Rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
Like butter.
You're somebody that I had to spend a little bit of time like figuring out like who you're gonna be. Like I was doing a little bit of research before I have somebody on. Seems like you're good with the mic. Seems like you have a great personality. You just let things come to your head and flow. Would you say you're like an easygoing kind of guy?
Yeah, man. I roll by the seat of my pants, kind of. Yeah, I'm easygoing. Not too particular on anything. So as you can see by my hair, I don't really care.
Hey, listen, we can go back and forth. Look at this crazy shit. And so
it's all good. Living life, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? What happened, what will be, will be.
Hey, sometimes you just gotta go natural.
Yeah, exactly.
I fuck with it. Thank you so much for finding the time. I'm sure in your super busy schedule. You're a professional fighter, and from what I gather from professional fighters, you spend a majority of your time training. And if it's not training, you're with your family, and if it's not with your family, you're trying to get everything lined up to make sure you can take the next step. So I appreciate you taking your time out of your day to come on to my show.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
No
Thanks
problem.
for having me too. Thanks.
Hey, listen, you're one of just from your repertoire alone, I know you're one of the hardest working guys in the game. Before you made your debut in professional fighting, you were in I saw LFA Victory, and I don't know if you took amateurs before that, but but sometimes most fighters do. But even before that, you're a 2-time Division 2 national champion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So can we talk about? I always like to talk about people's bases in martial arts, and wrestling is seems to be like the top one if you're talking about MMA. Most champions have that background in either wrestling or Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So how did you come across wrestling?
So I actually started wrestling for a quiz grade, and when I was it was my junior year. So it was the summer of my sophomore year. Or no, I started my junior year. I started, but it was for my the wrestling coach was my science coach or teacher, and he was giving out free quiz grades, and so I just tried out to get some quiz grades.
Where was this professor when I failed chemistry so horribly? I would have
man,
I
was doing bad. He was like, yeah, I'm giving out free quiz grade points if anybody wants to come out and try out wrestling. I was like, that's easy money. I'm there.
That guy must be a business major or something, because that's a great tactic. That's a great tactic to get some talent off the market.
Yeah, man, I owe a lot to that man. My first wrestling coach, man, Travis Rebordi, man, he was awesome.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Did you end up getting a good grade? And I'm assuming.
Yeah, I ended up passing. Because after that first week, I was like, I liked it. I just liked slamming kids. So yeah, I did it. I was like halfway through the season. But I started and I liked it, and so I made it to state like my first year wrestling.
What?
Which was my junior year.
Your first year wrestling, you made it to states.
My first year, I made it to state. I think my record was like 16-7 or something. But I freaking the other thing too, I wanted to join wrestling because so my mom had passed or whatever. So I felt a need. Yes, it's okay. I felt a need to like hurt people.
Right.
So like I think that was like my coping
that's
mechanism.
the way. That's the way you dealt with it.
It felt good, and I felt I was excelling in it, so it made me feel good. So I did really well my first year, and I made it to state, but then unfortunately I wasn't taking care of my stuff on the school end, my grades. They had slipped, so I wasn't able to go to state my junior year. But yeah, then I stuck with it. Went on to go to state and place at state my senior year, and then on to college, and I just kept getting better, and eventually, won 2 national championships.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say that. I mean, given that background, and I'm very sorry to hear that about your mother.
Yeah,
But it looked like she raised a great child. So, I know
exactly.
she's looking down, and very proud of her son. First and foremost, but like, also what people don't. So I live in New Jersey,
Oh,
so
okay.
they had just, I'm a big, proponent for martial arts for kids, but including wrestling, any sport that you can
Yeah,
get them in, because I just feel like, that physical exercise and that regiment is just good. I don't care what anyone
exactly.
says; it's just good for kids.
I think so too, man. I think especially if you do it in the right context. I think the structure of it, the respect, the hard work.
Right.
I owe actually a lot of my So my mom was like really good in raising me, and
Mhm.
my dad, he lived in he lives in Washington D.C.
Mhm.
When I was younger, but he would always like call and always like give me advice and stuff to do. But I owe a lot of wrestling for like like showing my toughness and showing me not all hard work you get a reward right away.
Right.
But it definitely it gave me some good attributes, and I think it's an excellent sport. And like you said, all martial arts are excellent sports if you use them in the right context to breed good human beings.
Right, but something that we're suffering, and it's kind of fallen by the wayside because of all the craziness in politics that's happening in this country. But
Yeah,
at a political level, they're doing things like in Tom's River here in New Jersey. They've canceled like just about all the sports programs for kids, and
yeah,
there's a lot of people just like yourself, and it's not just New Jersey. It's happening all over the country because people are worried about funding. But like at the end of the day, I'm like, figure it out. You can figure out all the other stuff.
We need it.
Right.
We need it.
Right, the kid,
Yeah.
the kids are only the kids are suffering, and if the kids are suffering, the
The
country's
future's
going to suffer. Right,
Exactly.
right.
Yep.
So, thank you for sharing that part of your life with us. And then obviously you've carried it over to everything in your career. I know a lot of people who, it takes a different type of person to do wrestling, to try it, and then stick it out, and then make it to the level that you made it. So obviously the grind, obviously the time it took for you to pick up the skill, so that's so admirable that you're able to do that, considering all the things that were happening around you. So you're built different, man. You're built different.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Look, Clarence here is
What's their name?
Clarence. It's Clarence Bubba.
Clarence Bubba.
Hey.
I love it. How you doing? You're a
Hey.
star now. You're on national airwaves.
Right? It's like it's no big deal.
He's not scared of the prime time,
Yeah.
just like his father.
Yes, sir.
Do you have other children?
Yeah. Nope, this is my only one.
Only one.
All I can handle right now.
Yeah, listen. When you're making those championship fights in the bantamweight division, we can make room for some more
baby,
stouts.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Stouts.
Yes, sir. Have a little room for another one.
So tell me, what the national championship run was like for you at the school that you attended.
Okay, so I went to the school, Nebraska Kearney, or University of Nebraska at Kearney,
Okay.
and it was really good. I was able to. I feel like I was really blessed in like the coaches I had throughout my career, like my high school career, and then I actually went to a junior college before I went to the Division II, the 4-year college. So I was able to gain a lot of skills from those the coaches I had, Joe Renfro and Travis Bordy and Brad Ewan. They were able to really kind of like hone my potential, because there was always everybody always said I had potential to do great things. I just had to put the work in and get better at wrestling. So at UNK I was able to. So my first year actually at UNK, I injured or I dislocated my elbow.
Okay.
But somebody forgot to or they thought they put it back in or whatever, but it wasn't back in, and it ended up putting me out for the season. So I had the injury redshirt my first year, and then my second and my third year there. Yeah, my second and my third year there, I won national titles for him, and it was great, man. The experience, the first one that I won, of course I was excited. I was almost like in disbelief, that I had done enough to get there, and winning it was crazy. Then the second time it was almost like okay, let's prove it's not a fluke. Let's go out and do what I'm supposed to do. So
wow. Yeah, that journey must have been crazy to get to that point. So all right, so you make that brilliant run. So wait a minute, so you did it back to back?
I did it back to back.
That's even crazier. That's even crazier. So you did it at 149 pounds, if I'm correct. Right?
Yes, sir.
So for both the times, so that's insane. Like to do a two-peat back to back in a sport that you never really spent. Like most people spend their whole lives wrestling to never even reach that point, and you're just like, I did it for a quiz grade, and
right, I'm here now, right?
Yeah. No disrespect to the amount of work you put in, because I know you put in your work and you did everything you did, but like that's the point I'm getting at is like the people that are rising to these promotions now. In Bellator and the UFC and One Championship and in Victor, even the regional level, like the caliber of athlete is starting to change now. Like you're a special type of athlete. You're obviously you've got the mentality, but you've got these physical gifts as well that allows, including your brain, because your brain is the best part of the whole thing. You're able to diagnose things and learn things at a very, very quick pace to put you in route to success. So you're watching your career as it goes on, and as you learn more and do all these other things, it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be such a great thing to watch you blossom. So you make that run at what time? Because like that transition, it seems to be like a lot of my buddy Connor Watson was at Rutgers at wrestling, and in the back of his mind, he always wanted to go on and fight in mixed martial arts. Where did you bridge that gap? Where was that moment for you? Was it early? Was it always in the back of your head, or is this something that you came across later?
It was never even a thought for me, because I was doing wrestling, and so my senior year, actually my roommate Josh Smith, he had started fighting kind of while I was still wrestling, and I also had a former teammate, TJ Hepburn. He had started fighting as well, like while I was wrestling, but it was never something that I thought I was gonna do. I thought I was gonna finish the wrestling season and then go on to maybe the Olympic Training Center, because I got invited to go out there and train. So I was gonna hopefully make an Olympic run. And so then I was finishing up my degree at UNK after the second title. So I was like, what do you call it? Like coaching part-time, and finishing up my degree. Student teaching or something, student aiding or whatever they call it. But and during that time, Jens Pover was starting up a gym in Kearney. So he had asked me to they had asked me to just help out with the wrestling at Kearney. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do help out with the wrestling. And so then I was helping out with the wrestling, and then eventually he got me to do some jiu-jitsu classes, and then he got me to do some kickboxing classes, kind of. And then it's like once I start doing something, like if I like it or whatever, it's kind of hard to keep me away from it. So eventually he was like, hey man, you might as well fight now,
Yeah.
You got all this knowledge and you learning stuff quick, you picking up stuff quick, you might as well fight. So within I think 6 months, I think I was able to find a fight. I was looking for a fight earlier, but I was able to fight. And then after that, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go this route, kind of.
Well, hey, listen, you've been successful, so there's no reason to turn back now. You've made it this far. Sure. You made it this far.
For sure. Yeah.
So you have fought in Victory. How did you come across Victory, or how did Victory had come across you?
So Victory is in Nebraska, and I had previously did a it was a wrestling match. They were doing like wrestling matches, kind of like the fighting format. So we would come out, walk out, and we'd wrestle against another competitor. I actually wrestled against Montel Marion. I think he's like a 4-time national, or he's a D1 national finalist or something. But he's a really good wrestler. And so I wrestled against him, and then I kept in contact with Ryan Stoddard just in case I would do a wrestling thing again. And then he found out I started fighting, and they talked to my manager at the time, was Monty Cox, and they asked me if I wanted to fight for him. And he was doing promotions as for fighting, and I was like, yeah, why not?
I didn't know. So Victory FC owns the Victory grappling tournaments as well.
Yeah, the Victory grappling. Yeah, that was the same.
I had no idea. I have UFC Fight Pass, so I see Victory on there FC every now and there. Then on there for the regionals, and then they have they have like CFFC and like all these other ones. So I wasn't aware that they had that. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, they had and I don't know the one that I did. I want to say it was in 2013 or 14. But yeah, I don't know if they had another one after that though. But yeah, that's how I started with Victory. So I also had an amateur fight after that grappling match. I also had an amateur fight with Victory. So I just always kept in contact, been in good graces with Victory and Ryan Stoddard.
Right. And then eventually you move on to the LFA. Right? Or is the LFA before Victory? I don't remember which one.
No, so I moved from Victory. I went to the LFA because the LFA or Victory had they were like changing management, and then something happened where I think Ron Stoddard had sold the company, and so it was they were undergoing new management, and so it was hard for me to get a fight because they had to get stuff together. So they released me to go to LFA,
which is that's a pretty big promotion. Most of the people that are in professional fighting are I've seen a lot come from LFA, Victory.
I felt LFA was like the number one feeder organization.
Right.
So I felt like that was a good step up, a step in the right direction, and also I knew that I'd be able to fight a lot. They got a lot of shows going on, so that was a big selling point for me. They got shows going on all over the place, so it would be easier to find me an opponent to fight.
Yeah. So all right, so you fight in all of those promotions. Did you fight for championships or at all? I wasn't able to see it on the list.
Victory, I was able to fight for the bantamweight title. I defended the bantamweight title.
Okay.
And then LFA, I was hoping I was the number one ranked fighter.
Okay.
There was a vacant title, but they couldn't come to an agreement on anybody to fight for the title. I tried lobbying for it, but nobody kind of stepped up, and nobody made sense or something. So
I guess people hate money and fame.
Able to fight for the title. Huh?
I guess people hate money and fame.
Yeah, or the route they had to take to get to it.
Yeah,
So it didn't work out.
Yeah,
but I fought for them 3 times actually. I fought some tough competition, and
Well, that's a big. All of those audiences are so big, which is going to lead to my next thing. So for Victory FC, you fight for a championship, and that's a big audience. And for LFA, that's a big audience. And you fought on a national level, so it doesn't get much bigger than that. So when you make your Bellator debut, what's it like walking out for your professional Bellator debut? Like, how do your nerves affect you in all of these big things? Is it something that you're used to because you're so used to fighting or wrestling instead of such big crowds, or how do you handle this debut?
Yeah, so my debut, I feel like it felt really comfortable to transition.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that was different was I felt like everything was nicer. If that makes sense. So like even like stepping on the canvas, I felt like the canvas was like grippier, and I didn't expect to feel that comfortable like on it. So Like that was the only thing that kind of shocked me. You know, I'm okay. Like the crowds and like everything really don't bother me. You know, I'm kind of in the zone and I'm having a good time. You know, when I'm out there. They say I got booed when I was out there in Hawaii, but I didn't even notice. I thought people were like cheering for me. I had no idea. Yeah, but yeah. So, and I think I've been groomed well by my experiences and my coaches. So I was ready. By the time I got there, I was ready.
You looked ready, and I took some notes down. Like just based off of what I had seen before and what knowing your background a little bit. You obviously use your wrestling in this fight.
Yep.
But the one thing that I noticed the most is how great your balance was, which comes hand in foot with a wrestler, but how calm you looked in the transitions, moving from transitions, and I understand that you've been wrestling for so long, but there's an added level of danger now, right? Because now someone can kick you and punch you and knee you and elbow you, so. Mm-hmm. It didn't seem to matter. Your skill level was just so good, and your conditioning was just so good. You were able to drag him into a 3-round war, and you ended up getting the win. So that was great. And you did this in his backyard.
Yeah.
In Hawaii, people were booing you. Obviously, it didn't affect you. You didn't know they were booing you, but people were booing you. They, you had to go to a different time zone. So what is this preparation like leading up to your debut? What is you walking out there? Obviously, So what is this like for you leading up to this big debut?
So leading up, and that's I feel like the biggest thing that people tell you, like, oh man, it's different under the lights, and like one thing I feel like I do is I try to like visualize everything that I can visualize, like visualize walking out, visualize, touching gloves, or visualize the crowds or the lights, like while I'm shadowboxing, like those intangible things that I feel like, don't get talked about. So I'm always like comfortable. I'm always comfortable going out there or going out and fighting, especially like now that I've been there too. But I felt like, I was super comfortable, and I also felt like I was super ready, and this was like where I was supposed to be. I feel like I took a longer route to get to a bigger organization than a lot of people, or than some of the people, but I feel like I'm ready, and I also feel like I don't need to like tiptoe around like the division, like I'm here, and like people are either gonna have to fight me or get out of the way type of thing. So, the preparation leading up to it was just that, comfortable because I'm supposed to be here, and I know I'm supposed to be here, and just go out there and perform how you're supposed to perform.
Outstanding. There's and then I also want to note how great your stamina was. He was going back and forth with the grab. Obviously, he's very strong. Both of you guys are really strong bantamweights. You guys were wrestling and transitioning and giving it all. And at the end of the round, I'm still seeing flying knees from you and good footwork and boxing and throwing a check hook at the very end, swinging out. So that these are things that like you had a culmination over your career that is all coming into fruition. Like, how does it feel? Like, getting your hand raised. How did it feel in front of that crowd in Hawaii?
Man, it felt amazing, man. That was like a high point of my career so far.
Right.
It was so great. Yeah, and I felt my conditioning was was awesome. The only thing I wish I would have done actually was push myself a little more. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I felt amazing. I controlled the fight. I went out there and did what I was supposed to do. I got a lot kind of riding on the fight.
Right.
But I feel like I handled it well, and I had fun, which was the main thing for me, to go out there and have fun and perform like I'm supposed to. So yeah, man, it felt amazing. Even in Hawaii, even though like they're supportive, I think it wasn't more of like they didn't like me. They just were very supportive.
They support their people.
Hometown
they
guys,
support their people.
And even afterwards, walking around, everybody was like super, brother. Everybody was like, was super supportive. You know, like a great fight. You know,
Yeah.
a couple people came up to me and was like, "Hey, man, that's my cousin," which I don't know if it's like actual cousins or Hawaii cousins,
like,
but he was
like
yeah,
Snoop
that's
Dogg
my
says
cousin.
cuz or unk.
But you had a good fight, man. You
Yeah.
beat him. That was a good fight. So
that's great.
It was a great time.
Did you guys?
And also, I got to bring my family out.
I was gonna say, did you get to
they
enjoy Hawaii with your family after that?
Yeah, you know, people see, you know, fighting and they don't realize how much of a financial strain it is on you, how much of you know, of time strain. You know, I'm like, I feel like I'm never home with my family. You know, I'm always training. You know, or they're at the gym with me training, or they're, you know, doing something so I can be training. So so it was really rewarding, and I'm really grateful of the opportunity to be able to take my family and take them to a nice place and kind of treat them well and reap a couple benefits, you know, before I get back to work.
Have you met Scott Coker?
I met him in passing.
In
met
passing?
him. He was doing like some broadcasting things, like when I seen him. So I didn't want to bother him too much, but I, you know, shook his hand and thanked him for the opportunity, type of thing.
Yeah, no, you know, that was going to be my next question. Like, what's your treatment been like in Bellator? Because we always hear about the you know, the other side of the pond as far as one championship and UFC, but I feel like no one really asks like how Bellator treats their fighters. And outside looking in, it looks pretty cool because they let you guys have your own sponsorships. They do pretty good promotions, and they've got some of the best talent in the world. So I wanted to ask you how have they been treating you in your debut?
I have nothing but good things to say, you know, about the Bellator. You know, I met everybody on the staff was amazing, you know, and like I said, like everything I felt like was just a notch above where I've been. I feel like I've been sleeping on cotton sheets and everything there was silk, you know. So it was super nice. I have nothing but good things to say. I met like the matchmakers, Mike Kogan and Rich Chow, and they were like amazing, nice down there people, you know. Yeah, I have nothing but good things to say, you know. Yeah, everything was super cool.
Nice, good.
I felt at home, you know, fighting, and I'm sure, you know, everybody in the organization feels like that, you know. I have nothing but good things to say about them.
This is like the
and
best.
And that was kind of the reason why I kind of part of the reasons why I chose Bellator, because to be honest, I wasn't really thinking the Bellator route before. But I went to Manuel Sanchez's fight, and I think, where were we? California, I think. Yeah, so I went to Manuel Sanchez's fight, and I seen how well, you know, he was being treated, and how well the organization was being ran, or the fight event was being ran, and you know, I talked to Big John McCarty, and he was like, "Hey man, I know he can't. He was crazy, which is like surreal thinking about. Like even when it was happening, I was like, what? Because I was having a couple drinks too, so I was like, is this like real?
Yeah.
Like this shit happening? I'm fucking tripping out. But so yeah, he came up to me and he was like, hey man, I seen you at the kinetic grappling deal, man. You was beastly, man. You're an amazing grappler. When you gonna come over to Bellator? And I was like, what? Like, when y'all hit me up, I'll come. Why not? Right. Tell them to hit me up. I'll come to Bellator.
Talk to your boy. Talk to your boy Scott.
Right.
Come on.
Let me have your people call my people. See what's up. You know what I'm saying?
That's amazing.
But yeah.
Wow. Shout out to Big John.
That's what actually like got the ball rolling for me, you know?
Yeah.
And so then that next Monday, I think I talked to my manager and I was like, hey, can we reach out to Bellator and see what's going on? And like, I think within a couple of hours, like I went to practice or whatever, thinking I'd hear back like maybe like next week or something, or end of the week. At the end of the practice, my manager called me and was like, hey man, we got a deal or whatever. And I was like, yeah.
Shouts out to Big John McCarthy out here in the ear of the. You know, that's why Bellator is doing so well now, because they're making really good business moves, like getting big personalities over here like Goldberg and John.
Yeah.
And now they went out and got people like Chris Cyborg to come over to the sport.
Yeah.
Or to their promotion.
Yep.
And all
Sergio
this.
Pettis is one of my teammates is fighting this week too. in Bellator.
Wow. Oh, I was going to ask you that because I saw one of your fights, LFA 55, I think it was. And they said that you were training with Duke Rufus and Sergio Pettis. Are those people that you still train with, that you haven't maintained a relationship with?
Yeah, I mean, that's like my main training partner, Sergio Pettis, and I've been with Duke here like 5 years now. So since I started as a pro, I've been here. So
what's your training been like with Duke Rufus? Because he's like regarded as like one of the best striking coaches in the country. So like, how did you come across him? And then I want to talk about your work with Duke Rufus and how he's changed your game.
Yeah. So the reason I came across him. So I started with Jens Pover, and then I moved to Iowa with Jens Pover. Mm-hmm. And then so Pat Miletich was like coming in and out of the gym. Mm-hmm. Jens Pover was coming in and out of the gym just because they had broadcasting things to do. Mm-hmm. So I trained at Miletich Fighting Systems for roughly like a year and something. And so then so I was looking to make a move because I was kind of outgrown. There wasn't enough training partners, and I kind of felt like I wasn't getting the most I can out of where I was training. Mm-hmm. So I asked Pat Miletich, and I was like, hey, I'm looking to make a move. Where would you suggest I go? And it was like me and my other buddy, Josh Smith, and he was like, so you could go to ATT. I think ATT would be a good choice, or here up the road, Duke Rufus Sport is a phenomenal coach, and you should go. No, actually, I think he said Duke Rufus first, but if not, he knows ATT is. He said Duke Rufus is an amazing coach, but if not, he knows ATT has a lot of bodies and good coaches. And so my buddy went to ATT. I checked out Rufus Sport, and I went there a day, and then I actually got like tapped out by the jiu-jitsu professor like 3 times within like 3 minutes. I was it was like when I was an amateur, and I was like, you know what, I got to come back here at the very least to like tap this guy. This freaking is Daniel Wanderlei. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, I was in love with it, and then I did some striking classes with Duke and then the team, and I was like, yeah, I was getting my butt whipped, but it was good because I hadn't been getting my butt whipped for a while, so it was good for me, and that's how I started. That's how I got to Rufus Sport, and since I've been here, Duke is an amazing teacher. Not only because he's good at what he does, but he's constantly evolving. He's constantly evolving with the sport. He's constantly watching fights. He's constantly giving us information or how we should be watching fights or watch. He's sending us videos, constantly of techniques we can use and implement in our game. So, I feel like I'm constantly growing and I'm constantly getting better. And, and if you're in a place where, you like you're growing as a fighter and, you're not becoming stagnant or comfortable. I got really high level teammates, where if any of us are taking a day off, the other guys are gonna let them know or let you know it. So, it's a good place to be.
Yeah. I mean, that seems to be the general consensus. Like when they talk about the top 3 guys, or at least the people that I hear at least talk about it, I hear no specific order, but I hear Duke Rufus, Mark Henry, and Dwayne Ludwig as like the guys who are like the best guys in the country as far as getting your striking game on point. And obviously, just looking at how you've been fighting over the last few years, it shows.
The proof is in the pudding, man.
Right, right.
I'm a wrestler, and I've outstruck, some of the best strikers. What's his name? Rob Emerson. He was like a champion in 2-weight classes, and knocking people out left and right, and I, put a stop to that, with Duke Rufus striking system. So,
hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Yeah, right.
Exactly.
right. So you're in probably one of the most difficult division weight classes in Bellator. You make your foray in there, but there's a lot of names in there that spark a lot of interest. You talk about guys like James Gallagher and Darian Caldwell. Some of them move up and down. AJ McKee, all these guys are like super talented, have super some of them are super athletes. Some of them have wrestling backgrounds that match like some stuff that you've done. So how do you see yourself stack up to these guys in your division?
I think I stack up really well. Like I said before, I don't feel like there's nobody in the Bellator bantamweight division, or even if I decide to move up to featherweight, I don't feel like there's nobody that presents an immediate, I should stay away from this guy. I feel like I could fight any one of these guys at any one of the top guys at any date, short notice or not. So I feel like I'm in a good spot. They got Patrick Mix, and all these guys I feel like are phenomenal fighters. But I feel like I'm ready to be here, and there's nobody's scares me.
Right.
So.
You have a great personality, and you're easy to talk to. But if that's because I don't know what you're like leading up to fights and leading up, and they have press conferences here and stuff. How do you think you're gonna handle somebody like James Gallagher getting all crazy and shit and saying some wild shit? Do you handle that okay? How do you handle those crazy shit talking people?
I handle it pretty well. I feel like. If you talk some shit, I can talk some shit.
Yeah.
I can talk with you if you want to talk.
Yeah.
I'm gonna spit, or I'm gonna tell you how I feel. You know what I mean? And also I'm nice or whatever, but I'm still from Acres Home, Houston, Texas. So if the time comes for me to, flip the switch, I'm very comfortable doing that. But I'm a family man. I'm a dad now. So for majority of the time, I don't have to be that, and I'm only that if I need to be it.
Right.
And I feel like I said before, I'm comfortable wherever we go.
Right.
That's kind of how I live my life.
Right.
So I've not really had very many people show up to me or come at me with disrespect.
Yeah.
But if you come at me with disrespect, I'm gonna have to handle that accordingly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So so if you come at with me with the disrespect, I got some zingers, you know what I'm saying? I talk about
Good.
I'm gonna come at how you look. I'll just handle that.
You gonna roast him?
Yeah, I'll roast you. I'll roast you quick. Better ask King Mo.
You know King Mo?
Yeah, King Mo be coming in my Instagram post, so I come at his forehead, and come at his egghead, and
King Mo,
how ashy his knees are.
King
King Mo's my boy, but he like to talk crap.
King Mo actually used to train with one of my coaches here in South Jersey, Coach Anthony. He's one of the boxing. He's right now he's coaching Tevin Farmer's holding mitts for him. He used to hold mitts for King Mo. So I've never met King Mo personally, but I've heard great things through proxy through him. And I see that
he's a good dude.
He talks shit on his post too.
He's just ugly, most ugly dudes are good dudes. I'm gonna show him this. He gonna be so bad.
Good. I have nothing poor to say about you, King Mo. I don't think you're ugly myself. This is all him. This is all him on this.
It's all me. It's me. Egghead.
So you say you live in Houston. Have you ever met Derek Luce over there in Houston?
No, I've never met him. I haven't really trained. The only time I train in Houston is when I go back home for holidays. So I don't train as much during the holidays, so I haven't really been. I don't even know. No, I haven't been to his gym or anything like that, or I don't know him.
I saw some dude. There was a boxer talking shit. Did you see that video? He was talking shit in his gym, and he basically murdered him.
Yeah, I seen that.
That's a terrible idea.
What's the name? He was calling out people he needed sparring partners from the streets.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was real dark because he KO'd him and he kept going like he was slumped over.
Yeah.
I was like, jeez.
Derek Lewis is a real one.
Yeah.
Derek Lewis is a real one.
I love
That's
Derek
for sure.
Lewis. He's funny, but people forget. Yeah. He's not just a funny guy. like he's not
He dangerous.
Yeah.
He dangerous. Like he'll laugh and then put you to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah,
he's break your jaw.
Real scary human being. One last question before I let you go. I know you got a lot of stuff going on. Just one tidbit that I heard. It was strange. I never heard it before, but it made sense. It was during your LFA 55 fight. I heard the announcer say that watch for Stots to wipe his gloves on his shorts because he likes to keep his hands dry to open up cuts on people's faces. Is that something that you do? Is that something that's true? Do you do that?
That wasn't me actually. That was Levi Miles.
Oh,
I heard that too. I seen that. Levi Miles, he does that. And so he can cut people. I didn't think about doing that before that fight, but now that you think about it, no, I've actually tried to add that, add doing that,
it's genius. That's like such a subtle thing that I would have never thought of in 1,000 years.
Yeah, I know. I've watched that fight a couple times, and I was like, man, you're right. I could be doing that. Like, you smart.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's a smart thing to do.
Yeah, that was just one tidbit. I've literally, in all the years that I've been watching, I've never heard anyone of doing that, but it makes sense, and it makes sense. More friction makes more cuts.
Definitely, yeah, exactly. It does make sense. Like if you have drier gloves, exactly. More friction should cause more cuts. Right. That's smart, man. He's a little genius.
Yeah. So I'm glad it didn't work on you. I'm glad you were slicking there.
Thank God.
Yeah. Closing question. What's next? What's next for you on the line? Like, what are we thinking? Do you have any opponents in mind? Do you have any dates in mind? What's going on next?
So I was hoping to get on. Like I said, I want to fight as soon as I can, as often as I can. I like fighting a lot. Fighting is the fun time for me, so I want to have as much fun as I can. So I was trying to fight on the Oklahoma card, but it's looking like the Oklahoma card or February 21st is filled up. I'm open to, I see a couple cards on. I see Sean Bunch and I think Kevin Lee's little brother are fighting. So I'm hoping somebody can make weight or gets hurt.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't get hurt, but they can't fight. So I can jump into that fight.
Yeah.
I love to fight Dantes or Patrick Mix or Gallagher. I see they have fights coming up. Anybody really, I just, I'm eager to get out there and prove myself.
Raufeon Super Stots wants all the smoke. Bring him.
Smoke.
Here we go.
All the smoke. Every ounce. Ain't that right, Clarence?
He's smiling.
Yeah, we want all the smoke.
He wants the smoke too. Thank you so much for fun. It was a great interview. I had a blast. You're welcome to come back whenever you want. Just let me know. I'll make the time. I'll figure it out. I hope, I wish you nothing but success in your early career. You're a positive role model and you're a family man, you want all the smoke. You're interesting to watch. You're also, on top of all that nice stuff, right? You're also a good fighter. You've got the skills, you got the accolades, you're in a great promotion and it's looking great right now. It's looking great.
It's looking up.
Yeah. I wish you the best. And this is the time of the interview where I let, the fighter, this is your platform to say whatever you want, shout outs, sponsors, and then, your whatever closing words that you have.
Cool. So I want to shout out Combat Corner for always providing me with fresh equipment. Perfect Sports for their supplements. Also, Twin J Transportation is a big supporter of mine. Jim Kurtz, BB Roofing, also supporters that have been around since I've been amateur. I'd like to thank Bellator for giving me a platform to fight on. And Rufus Sport, as always, Wanderlei Jiu-Jitsu, I'll rep it till I'm gone, yeah. And that's about it.
And also support your local woodworker, too. I see it on the T-shirt.
Local woodworker, Rock the Builder, you know what I mean? I be out here building stuff, supporting, local woodworker. I don't know if You probably can't see it. I got Ralph the Builder on my back.
Rough the Builder. I love it.
Right there. Yeah, but like that's something that I do like in my spare time. I like woodworking and building stuff.
I was gonna say, as a hobby, do you make art or do you do it like for like business?
No, I do. I build like furniture and I fix things. It's something that's fun for me to do. I like doing it.
That's awesome. You get all these skills. Where do you get all these skills from?
Yeah, it's more ghetto rigging or nigger rigging stuff.
Oh, Jesus.
That's stuff I like doing. But yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing. Do you build your own furniture? Are you sitting on a couch that you have built?
No, I built my bed. What else? I built a table that we use. What else? The other things I've been doing is like fixing, like I tore out a wall and I built a shoe rack too. Yeah, just odds and ends stuff.
There you go.
I got a house and then I just decided I'm gonna start building stuff.
That's great. That's great. Now you don't have to worry about hiring construction. You can take care of whatever it goes as a homeowner.
Exactly.
The super talented, the super killer, the super Stots. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. You're welcome whenever you're back.